Welcome to WholeCEO with Lisa G. I'm the best-selling author of The Boss Weight Loss. I'm bringing you the top tips to be unstoppable. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually pull up a chair with today's top experts in mindset, weight loss, business, and more. Learn our top tips so that you can have more energy, be fit and resilient, feel unstoppable, unshakable, and unbreakable. He spent the last 20 years building companies in Canada and the US. As a serial entrepreneur, he's seen a startup journey from a variety of perspectives as a successful bootstrap founder, CEO, having helped launch corporate divisions at big company, and as a founder of CEO of Limelight, a venture-backed company where he raised 8 figures of capital, currently spending his time helping companies grow with Forum Ventures, and the COO and general partner. Welcome to the podcast, Jonah Midanik.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here. I really want to dive first into your topic of your story and how you can inspire others to fail forward and keep going with resilience and grit.
Well, like I said, really appreciate being here. I'm not so sure about inspire others, but more than happy to share the story.
The story is a good start.
Yeah, so I've been building businesses for the last 2 decades in Canada, and like most things, it started off almost entirely by accident. I was young, I had no idea what I was doing, and the first business I started just kind of slowly grew, and I made a million mistakes. And it was interesting because there were numerous points at which I thought, that business wouldn't continue for mistakes I had made or clients pulling out or, employees leaving, all of these things. And, I happened to have a small success with it. We were able to build a real business. And since then, that's what I've been doing. I've been walking in and starting companies from scratch and making a ton of mistakes and dusting yourself off and just trying to get the business to keep going long enough to put yourself in a position to succeed.
Okay, so not really to inspire our audience, but I've had some experiences where you try something and it doesn't work, and you try something else, and you try something and it doesn't work, and you try something else. So more about staying the course. I hope you guys are listening to the fact that you just got to fail forward, right?
Yeah, and the way I think about it is like we're inevitably as humans going to make a ton of mistakes, right? And the more big decisions you try and make, the more mistakes you're going to make. Even if you're right 70% of the time, if you're making like 1,000 decisions, you're still going to be wrong 300 times. Like that's a lot of times to be wrong. But if you're running a business, you're definitely making 1,000 decisions. So the question isn't, are you going to beat yourself up for being wrong? The way I think about it is always, you're inevitably going to be wrong a lot. And so you have to make sure that you don't make mistakes that you can't survive. So don't get too attached to your mistakes. Don't make mistakes that like, if this doesn't work, it's done. Because those ones are really hard to come back from. So instead, you give yourself space to make mistakes. Understand you're going to make so many of them. Don't get too attached to the decision you made yesterday. Get attached to the result it produces today, or in like half the times doesn't produce today. And if you keep doing that, then through a series of a million mistakes and 1,000,001 good decisions, you'll end up on a different place than where you started. And lots of times that place will be good.
Yeah, I wish I had this conversation when I first started down rabbit hole of trying to build an email list and being promised it's all going to work in 3 months. You're going to have this amazing thing and sell out all your programs. And yeah, that didn't happen. So I wish I had known to really try to enjoy the process and keep iterating and enjoy the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's key. And that's the other one is like just not getting attached to the fact that like you're going to wake up and at the end of some days as being an entrepreneur or a CEO or a founder or whatever you call yourself, you're just going to say like, I didn't have a great day today. And that's just the way it is. Like there's nothing that can really help that. And so you just got to try and shake it off, get a workout in or do whatever makes you and try to have a better day the next day. Like that's part of the process.
Yeah, well, thanks for keeping it real. I really appreciate that. In light of all your success, raising money, creating pitch decks, is there any secret hacks you have on how we can go about, first question, raising the money?
Well, so I mean, the first question to raising the money is it depends what kind of money you want to raise, right? Like, so there's all sorts of money. Like, I specialize in helping people raise venture capital. In my
Right.
first business, I didn't raise money. So I always tell people who come to me and say, "Hey, will you fund this?" I said, the first question you should really ask yourself is like, do you really want me to?
Did you get
Because if
like
you
half of the money or something like that? Is
Yeah,
that,
not even that. Like that's part of it, right? Like, okay, at the end, you'll only get like some amount of what you've earned. But if you actually think about most of the richest, most successful people
yeah,
most of them didn't raise money in the beginning. Most of them have like a business that they ran and grew. And sometimes that's not possible. But for lots of businesses, it doesn't make sense to raise capital
right,
unless you absolutely need to. So the first thing to do, if you can, in my view, is always what's the exact maximum I can do without any money? What can I
right.
prove with no money?
The
And
bootstrapping.
start there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, in my business, so we build software. So lots of times it's like, well, maybe don't actually build the software. See if you can sell it before you build it. And then
Oh,
if people
great.
say yes, then you save all this money on engineering. Or with an email list, like before you produce the thing, just stand a landing page and see if people want to sign up. And until you get a lot of people signing up, don't quit your day job, as an example.
Yeah,
So what's the maximum you can do with no money? What's the maximum goal you can set yourself with no money? And before you go out to raise money, see if you can hit that. And then if you hit that, it's like, what's the next goal? And I think a lot of times you'll find that if you do that, um, you'll have a much better chance of succeeding whether you decide to raise money or not. Because if you don't, you'll find you don't need to lots of times. And if you do, you'll be able to say, look at all these goals I achieved without money.
I love that. That's so much to unpack there. I mean, so not necessarily bootstrapping, but testing landing pages first. Is that a good idea to always be testing, like A/B testing stuff before you try to go to market?
Yeah, I think A/B testing is one way, but another way, like you and I are doing right now, is just testing with conversations, right? I often find
Yeah.
that like one of the things we do a ton, people are usually willing to give a little bit of time to entrepreneurs. So if you say, "Hey, I'd love 15 minutes of your time. I really respect you. Lisa, you built this great podcast, this huge network, this big audience. I'd love to get 15 minutes of insight into this." Lots of people are going to say no, but some are going to say yes. So you're going to be able to get feedback and see if you're solving a real problem and if people really want what you're selling before you hop in. I would say the biggest mistake I see founders make, and these are mistakes you can't recover from, is do people really care that much about the problem you're solving in the first place?
Yeah. So you don't want to create a product suite for yourself. You want to interview your ideal avatar audience and then do some testing.
Yeah, I think ideally, my whole motto is I used to when I was younger be like, I hope I don't make mistakes. And now it's just like I'm inevitably going to make a ton of them. So how do I make them in testing mode rather than, consequences mode?
Well, thank you. I really appreciate this. Coming from somebody who's been so successful in raising money, let's just say the person who's listening to this now really does have their heart set on raising VC funding for whatever reasons. Um, how can they create a good pitch deck, for example?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing I tell all founders is that because venture capital is kind of its own animal, is that remember that VCs or venture capitalists in general only care about very big outcomes. And very big outcomes means billion-dollar plus companies. And so if you're not thinking in literal billions,
Yeah,
then venture capital is actually not the right fit because that's the kind of companies and people that venture capital is funding. So
right.
that's step one. So if you are thinking about this building like a world changing company, your Ubers, your Stripes, your Shopify's, then amazing. Then what the next thing you need to do is make sure that you're telling a big story. And a big story is a story about how the world's going to be different now that your company exists. So you can do it with any of the three companies I mentioned. Anyone on the street would be like, how's the world different with Uber? It's like, well, I guess I don't really take taxis anymore and I can just summon a car with my phone. That's really different. You completely change an industry. If you were to say to people like, how's the world different now that Shopify exists? Or we're like, well, I guess I could just create a store and sell my stuff right now. Like I could do it today. That's really different. And same thing if you wanted to do it and so for any big world changing company,
Like
you need to,
Airbnb is a big
yeah,
one.
exactly. That's an awesome example, right? You could be renting out your home when you're on vacation or, whatever, or that could be a whole other business for you if you're an entrepreneur. This
Yeah,
idea of a shared space. And so those are all new ways that the world functions because companies exist. And
right.
that way of thinking and storytelling, before you worry about, slide 7, where you say that Goldman Sachs predicts a $17.8 billion market, you need to just, in plain words, be able to tell someone on the street how what you're building makes the world different.
Oh, I love that. So you do want to go for the big bucks and you tell the story not of your brand story, but of how you want to change the world. Or do you have to also have a brand story too?
I think you need to tell the story of how your company is going to make it different, right? Not just specifically why you and this are going to make it
Yeah,
different.
that's
Yeah,
different. That's really good
that's
to know. And okay, so is there another option for funding? Let's say you don't want to change the world just yet, starting out of the gate, but you want to raise money nonetheless. Is there other kinds of funding people can look to raise?
yeah. So I think there's lots of good options, right? Like community banks and community lenders are great if you need small amounts of debt. I think that those are realistic options for a lot of small businesses. And again, small businesses are like one of the biggest engines of employment we have and really amazing. I mean, like I said, my first business, that's what we ultimately ended up doing. We just went to the bank that we'd had a relationship with for a couple of years and we're like, we need a small loan. And they said, okay. And, I think that's a great way of getting financing. There's also, if you're looking for smaller things and it's finding people who know your industry well and know the problem, who have been successful in it and saying, look, you're an expert at this. This is what we're trying to do. What do you think? And if they're like, oh, that's amazing, it's like, well, that's a very real option also. And then I think a big source of funding that a lot of people often don't pursue enough is there is a fair amount of government funding for entrepreneurship in various jurisdictions. It's just very like tedious to access.
You mean like
But
write grants or something like that?
yeah, like grants and loans and interest-free loans. And there's all sorts of stuff that does exist. And it can vary wildly by state, by jurisdiction, federally, what you're trying to do, how you're trying to do it. But I do think those are often viable options as well.
Great. Well, any final wisdom bombs you want to leave our audience with on how they can be unstoppable in business in this disruptive time we're all experiencing right now?
Yeah, I think I'll end on, just try and learn something every day from the mistakes and make sure those mistakes are survivable. And that is how you build resilience, I think.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned working out. Like for me, that's been something that's gotten me through a whole lot of hard times in my life. And meditation, like what I do, I wake up, I try to focus on, what I do want to accomplish, not the past.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Every day. Good for you. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm similar. I need to do that in order to do this.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys, I hope you're taking notes, getting some rock star advice here from Jonah Midanik. Where can people find more of you?
We are always happy to support entrepreneurs at forumvc.com. And we are funding founders literally every week.
Well, thanks, Jonah.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming to Whole CEO with Lisa G. After over 20 years helping people lose weight and get fit, I'm so excited to announce that I found the missing link with my coaching. Message me if you want to learn how to look better, feel better, and go faster with a master. Lisa G at lisagfit.com.